Hello, everybody. Eric Eisenhut here of the United Goalkeeping Alliance. Today, in our United Goalkeeping Alliance Coaches Conversation, we have John Gregg of GameRun AI, who's going to be introducing us to AI and how it can impact not only coaching in sports, but coaching specifically from a goalkeeper's perspective. John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? It's nice being here.
It's great to have you. It's
Yeah,
great to
thanks you
have
for
you.
the invite. I don't know where it is where everybody else is, but it's finally a nice day after 3 days of rain here. Looking forward to actually being back on the fields a little bit.
I couldn't agree more.
Um,
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And the other thing, just like I was talking real quickly, like I firmly believe in what this is about. This is a great product. I'm really looking forward to this presentation, John. So again, thank you for your time and take it away, sir.
Great. Again, thanks for the invite. It's always nice to be able to, as a coach who's been involved with everything from teaching little kids to national team level players to private trainings to team environments to camps and everything in between, as many of you that are coaches probably know. I'll be honest with you, I'm just going to start from the very beginning of introducing Game Run to you, but let me just tell you kind of how my journey into Game Run came about. I'll make this as brief as possible. I was on a beach vacation with family and sitting on the beach, and some of our neighbors that we're friends with were down there, and we got into a conversation where he was talking about chat GBT and all this different AI stuff, and I was literally sitting there going like, dude, your life is going to be taken over. You're not going to be able to think for yourself in another couple months. And I was like a proponent of never using AI, never being involved in it, and so I didn't really know anything about it. And then literally that same night, I was at dinner and my phone started blowing up, and it was one of my former college coaches who was my goalkeeper and coach in college. And I'm saying, okay, there's only two reasons why he's calling me right now, or he's blowing my phone up. One, something happened to a teammate of ours, or two, he wants to complain about one of his players not making my regional ODP team because he happens to run ODP in Connecticut. So I kind of ignored it for a little bit because I was at dinner, and then it just kept happening, kept happening. So I was like, I got to step away. I got to figure out what's going on. So I answered him. He goes, I need your help on something. I'm like, what's that? And he goes, Ray, and if those of you out there that know Ray Reed from the 20 some years he was at UConn, he was my soccer coach when I was at Southern Connecticut State University, and Jim O'Brien and Brian Quinn were assistant coaches, and the three of them, Ray more so is the face of Game Run soccer component. And Ray needed somebody to help train AI in the world of goalkeeping. And Jim was his goalkeeper coach. And Jim was like, I don't know anything about technology. I want to get John Gregg involved in this because he's actively coaching. He's doing everything all over the sun. He works with US Soccer, blah, blah, blah. And he does a lot of YouTube channel stuff and he knows it. So they brought me in, and basically I began the beginning stages of with Game Run as their soccer analyst for helping AI learn. This is not a product that I built and it's only my vision, right? Because in goalkeeping, everybody's got a different vision. Everybody's got a different vision depending on where you live in the world or in the States. And we're usually always teaching goalkeeping on the way we were taught growing up as kids, like, right? And then maybe a couple flary things here or there that we've learned along the way. First and foremost, I want to make sure that the everybody understands that the game run soccer component and goalkeeping component aren't necessarily that of one who is teaching it, right? We're basically trying to help AI identify certain things. So game run has five different sports actively. They have ice hockey, basketball, baseball, soccer, and fencing. So there's a number of different entities that this company is working with, not just on the soccer model, but we all have similarities. We all share ideas and we all help one another out with the model. Which brings me to me being brought in as a goalkeeper person. AI going in is a product out there that is, you can see it in VO, Trace, Huddle, and a number of different other companies that are popping up. And when I went into this, our A model didn't know anything about goalkeeping. And our model of AI is not just looking at data points like a lot of the camera systems do, and a lot of the other programs out there. We're actually looking at the biomechanics of the athlete as well as the data points. So, for example, AI, I was told that AI was I'm a goalkeeper expert. I've got a coach who knows nothing about goalkeeping. I'm teaching that person how to identify a goalkeeper if they've never seen one before. So I've used this reference a number of times to Eric and other calls, but think of it as like walking into an office and you've never been into an office before, and you don't know what a filing cabinet is. It's a tall thing over there, probably brown, has 5 drawers in it, right? Okay, I identified it. Now, what does the filing cabinet do? Well, okay, the filing cabinet has hands, feet, body, footwork, agility, and all those kinds of stuff. And we just continuously build the model on so the AI can go out and identify. And then once it's identified, start using its AI brains to scour the universe and learn more about itself as of what a goalkeeper does. Once we felt that we got the AI model on goalkeeping down really good, we then started going into the biomechanics of this. So, for example, let's just take catching, for example. I had to go through and basically identify all the things that catching could possibly happen. Like, let's just talk about low ground catching of a ball in front of you, right? Is the goalkeeper standing up straight? Are they bending at the waist? Is their head looking down at the ball? Are they leading with their hands? Are their pinkies close together? Is the ball bouncing, rolling, or standing still? And we just fed it all these little, what I call characteristics, roles, and responsibilities of that microspec of a moment in the game. And then I did that for basically everything: high catching, low catching, catching at the chest, all catching to the side, diving. And we went through basically all the skills, as far as hand distribution to foot distribution to diving, lateral movement, near post position, scanning of field, and all that. We've gotten it down now where the product is just so super cool. And I told Eric the other day, he said, "Can I see that video again?" And I said, "I don't want to show you that video again." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Because it's really old." And I said, he goes, "It was like 2 weeks ago." I'm like, "Yeah, it's really old." 2 weeks ago in AI is like 3 years, right? So it's continuously developing and changing. And the product's just really cool. I'm going to try to show you a very short a clip that we did. And this is if I believe me correctly, I'm going to share my screen and give me 1 second to find the good stuff here. Um, Let me know when you guys can see this beginning screen of GameRun. Can you guys see these little videos here? Yep, you good? Okay. Um, I'm going to just show you one real quick. Again, this is in my testing phases of learning how to use this and also kind of showing how cool it was. I went down to a buddy's college, who is a UGKA member, Rick Staten, and his college program. It happened to be his birthday, so I went down to celebrate his birthday, but I kind of wanted to use his players a little bit more than Vision birthday, but it all worked out. So this middle one here is one of his goalkeepers. Um, it basically took, I stood at the 18 while their goalkeeper coach was putting them through some drills of catching, just kind of giving them some reps at the beginning of their game as a practice as a warm up. I stood at the top of the 18. I used my iPhone. I took a video just using no special apps, just using the camera on my phone. I believe the video is roughly around a minute, maybe a minute and a half long. All right. And then right there and then from the field on my phone, I uploaded it into our platform and I gave these reports. I want to show you the real quick results of that video. I'm going to show you the video. It's a minute and 16 seconds long, by the way. Move you guys out of the way. Get here. Can you guys see the video? Yep. Okay. So basically just getting some near post action on shots and then some straight on shots. So I'm not boring you on having to watch the entire long video. When that video gets uploaded and the report comes in, you'll be on a screen like this and you'll see that the upload is completed and you'll get two different forms of the result. If you view this result, it'll show you the video in the background that you're not playing, but it'll give you overall summary points if you want to go look at something specific. If this is something that you want to print off, send distribute whatever you want as an evaluation, or you want to send it to the parents in an email, or you are a player looking to be recruited and you want to send this to a coach, you can look at the PDF version of the result. So off of a minute, I think it was a minute and 16-second video of her taking straight on shots and near post shots, we get a 3-page analytic report on her. It'll give you the overall summary based on, who the player is, her age, her height, her weight. It gives you some just little brief summary synopsis of what she is. Then the next section is the performance matrix grid. It gives a rating scale of excellent, consistent, developing, or needs focus. And it'll go through everything that it saw in that video. The longer the video, the more things it picks up, obviously. If you're doing multiple things right here, she was just doing more or less catching and movement. So it's really setting on set position and readiness, catching ground balls, mid-range, head height, chest, and then agility and mobility. It gives her her ratings, some key observations or strengths, and then some primary areas of refinement. After that grid, you're going to get a coach's at a glance summary. So the first summary was the overall player. The second summary is some things that the AI coach is noticing or recognizing. And then once it gives that, it then goes into the 4 pillars that we were all taught of as coaches, the technical, tactical, mental, and physical. And it basically breaks down on her technique of ground balls, hand positioning, body shape, agility, mobility, catching of mid-range. Sometimes it's a lot of the same things because it was seeing a repetition over the same exact movement, and so on. Then it goes to that tactical pillar, talks about our decision making, set position, things like that. The technical pillar is a much more in-depth pillar if you pull up a game video as compared to just a training environment video, right? Because obviously we know technical or the tactical pillar is going to be looking at, your game knowledge of many different things, not just near post, far post, straight on. Physical pillar talks about her impact over their size, the body shape and stance, her distance of the catch, her gathering and securing, execution speed, and her psychological load and recovery. Then it talks about the mental, her focus, her confidence, her resilience. After it goes through her 4 pillars, we then begin talking about her strengths. Very short video, very short summary. And then what I like about the model that we taught it the most was is that if you're identifying problems or AI coaches identifying problems of the player, we should be giving them recommendations on what we identified is not consistent or needing development and give them examples of how they can go back and improve on that themselves. And that's the individual player development plan. We go through the activities, static ground balls with lateral movement, reaction balls, and it gives coaching clues on what we should be saying as coaches if we want to, but it also gives examples of exercises the kids can work on. So that's kind of the very short synopsis of a minute long video. We're now right at the point where we're able to upload full games on the backside. It's not available on the website yet, but we're actually working with our developers where we download a link of a game, we identify the goalkeeper in the game by the criteria it asks for, and then the system runs it and it gives them an entire eclipse of them playing and their performance throughout the entire game. One of the things I thought was really important in the AI game model that's different than the training model is as a coach who, like Eric said, you can't always go out and see all the games of all your goalkeepers you work with, nor can you always identify the things in the game that you might not be able to see sitting in the stands or watching in a video. Things like your stance was 3 inches too wide. AI identifies that. Your breathing was too heavy, so you must have been under duress for some reason. Your the look on your face looked like you were in an angry conversation or you're talking meanly to the referee and opponent or whatever. And then the building of that model had to be in 2 cents. The first was, does the goalkeeper's team have possession or does the goalkeeper's team not have possession? So we wanted AI to identify that first before reading these things. And then where's the ball on the field? Attacking middle or defensive third in those same scenarios. Because that'll tell us a lot about the goalkeeper's motions, actions. Like if you see a kid slightly jogging back, the naked eye would think that her team has the ball, but then you don't realize that they need to work on that because here comes the other team down the field with the ball. The AI model has 1.3 million eye sensors. And from my understanding from talking to the developers, and they talk so fast sometimes I have to understand what they're talking about, but the model was developed or worked on by people in the military defense system that work on drone technology. So the eye of the drone who that can see from 3 miles above the earth down to a car on a road driving is the same scenario. So the AI model is looking at things that we can't even see with the naked eye from where we're videotaping, right? Anybody have any questions at this point? Or, I mean, I know I'm rambling on here, but I know there's so much information to give you. I want to make sure that you guys have a chance to chime in if you'd like to ask a question on what I spoke on or the video I showed you.
Yeah, I do. So you mentioned you were just recording it off your phone. So
Mhm.
this isn't like that, is that like the main way you'll get the footage, or is it could you could download something from VO,
You
or is there
can,
something that comes with, is this like a web-based platform?
so currently we can take any video out there. We can take it of a recording off of a TV, like a simulcast game. Like you can take it with your, videotape it, or you can DVR it. If you can save the file to upload, you can use it. We've had people use cell phones. People use camcorders. We've had people use iPads. We haven't done it in soccer yet because I haven't figured out how to do this on a full size soccer field. But a basketball coach did. He has this app where he can put two cell phones together, where one looks at this half and then
Hmm.
they
Mhm.
kind of like VO does, the VO eyes, and
Yeah.
and it puts it together. We've had I've been uploading games from my VO platform. I go into my one of my games in VO and I can download it and I save it on my computer and I upload that file. I haven't heard of anybody using Trace yet, just because the coaches that are doing it currently, no one has Trace. I have heard of there's another Huddle. That's it. Huddle was the other one that someone's used. So the video doesn't matter where it comes from, and this is what's also important. The video doesn't have to come from the 50. Like if you're in a game and you're
Yeah.
setting VO up, no one's setting it up by the corner flag, right? They're setting up at the midway line to get both halves of the fields. So if you're using an iPad or a camcorder or a phone, you can actually take the video of the goalkeeper from the corner flag shooting straight across, and AI will still be able to recognize the areas. So we
And
have not yet
all
had any issue with any of the types of videos.
right. And with goalkeeping being so much about angle play, and of course might get video from a whole bunch of different angles. From your experience, you've been able to see that it's able to uh, analyze, properly the angle, regardless of where the video is taken from.
Yeah, and this is kind of the best way I can explain it and say use it in like layman's terms because I don't know the technology or could I even explain what an algorithm is, right? My understanding is that the 1.3 million eye sensors are all looking at something differently.
Hmm.
So I was told that if you were a goalkeeper getting ready to make a save, imagine 1.3 million people watching you in that second that you're making that save, but every single one of those 1.3 million people were looking at something different. And then when you did it, they got together and they said, "Here it is," like type thing. So I
Yeah.
know that there's an eye that looks at measurement. So like your distance from the post or the angle where your foot is in relevance to the distance of the post. So it's identifying all those things that we've seen so far. And when we don't think it is, next week it is, like because it's learned how to do that on its
Right.
own. So that's kind of the really cool and crazy thing about it is that I learned that early on in AI was like you don't give it too much information. You give it like coaching, right?
Yeah.
You develop by leading, right? You lead it with some things and you let it go try to figure itself out. And then if it can't, it gives you a bad result. And then when the testing phase, I'm not saying it's going to give you a bad result in the product of the world that you're going to use it in. It's in the beginning stages when we identify those through our reports. Like I got a report here that I'm inking up right now because I want to go back and say why is AI telling us this? We identify those and then try to correct them before the product ever goes live on that. I will be 100% honest with you right now. Our platform is web-based. So you are the best option for you to get the best results right now, or the ease of use is that if you can download it to your computer and do it from your computer. but I have done some very short video clips, like the one for Rick. I did it right on my phone, and I just opened up my Google Chrome app on my phone, and I went to the GameRun website. As you know, with many things out there, when you pull up a website on your phone to try to make a payment or something like that, it doesn't always look the same that it does on
Right.
the web, right? We're so incredibly invested in getting this product right that the app is on the back burner. We are eventually going to have an app that you can go into the app and you can record from the app so that you don't
Mhm.
have to save the video. You can actually open up the app and log in and run your video through the app, and it'll give you the results a little bit even quicker because you're cutting some steps out. So the web platform right now is the best. Doesn't matter the video or the camera. Was there another part of that question? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I have one more question, and I don't want to
Yeah.
dominate, but I have
No.
another meeting I got to jump to in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and I'm kind of I am not an AI expert, but as we integrated in what we do, I'm involved in recruiting and whatnot as well. I've been kind of at the forefront of our own AI initiatives, and our company is not in what we do in recruiting, but we also develop software for home health and hospice organizations, and a lot of it's AI based, right? So
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot about it, so I'm super interested. But with that being said, I guess my last question before I jump is, you kind of alluded to this. I think there are certainly things that are just wrong, or bad technique, and certainly right ways to right, something that's good, but sometimes there's more than one way to skin a cat with certain techniques. um and there's always the argument that, well, you always should have your knee behind your hand, or I like the open stance because I have a little more flexibility, whatever. So there is a little bit of leeway or gray area sometimes with the way people approach certain techniques. How is the analysis in regards to maybe recognizing those things? And I don't know if
Yeah.
I'm
No, you're
laying
you're
my
you're you're
question
right
out.
on. We've had, I think Eric and I have even had this conversation. You're 100% correct. There's like you said, there's more than one way to skin a cat. But the what you have to understand first and foremost is that it doesn't matter what product, what industry, or what you ever use AI for, it's never going to be 100% correct.
Right.
It's not going to happen. Just like every coach. You can have a great soccer coach. There's a flaw there somewhere, right? Somebody's going
Sure.
to do something a little bit better, a little bit different. And that's pretty much how AI is. But here's a big reason. What US soccer or what US youth soccer puts in place as their practices, right? For coaching and teaching coaching education. They don't do the same in Brazil, Germany, England. Everybody's going to have their own ideologies of how things should be done, right? So there's where you're going to have your imperfections of in goalkeeping, like or um, different things like that. The biggest issue is that understand that when the what AI and how the brains of AI work is that here's an apple, right? And then AI says, I'm going to take that apple and I'm going to look for apples in anywhere I can find them in podcast, in literature, in videos, in YouTube, in other forms that we're working on. And that's how it learns. It takes all the similarities of all those and kind of compiles them and then tries to learn more of why this one's different and this one's different, right? So I will tell you straight up that there's no AI product out there that will be 100% perfect, right?
Right.
But the idea of it is to give you things that you as a coach cannot see. I'm gonna give you a great example. I have a very good friend who is a goalkeeper coach for the national team, right? One of the youth national teams. She is very incredibly versed. I would never step in and say you shouldn't be teaching it that way. She's there for a reason, right? She was working with her own daughter in goal, and we were just having a conversation about because the daughter plays for me, and she was telling me that she wasn't doing something. I'm like, send me like a minute long video, maybe even less of her doing that, and I want to see something. And she was a goalkeeper, by the way, both of them goalkeepers. And she sent me the video, and AI recognized that her stance, like when she's in her ready position, right before she went into a power dive, her feet jumped out an inch and a half outside of her shoulders too much. Like she's doing here, 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 here. And right before she pushes off, she goes like that to go into her step. And the problem on the power dive was that she got off the ground, but she wasn't going the distance that she should be going for her size. But what it was recognizing that in the AI was that because she's this height, she needs to move her feet in an inch and a half on each side to get them under her shoulders more so that when she takes her power step, she's actually using her back foot or her push off foot to maximize her explosion. It was good, but it wasn't perfect. And
Hmm.
by putting her foot here, she's gonna push off and have a better explosion, and it's gonna get her. And boom, there you know, she fixed it, and now she's diving no problem. And that's a national team goalkeeper, right? Um, I'll give you another example. If you do privates like I do, and I'm working on one of my or two of my goalkeepers doing crosses, I can't rely on the kid giving 10 consecutive crosses in. So who goes out and crosses? I do,
Right.
right? Can you watch that keeper every moment when you're striking a ball to hit it in? No. You're looking and then you're putting your head down and striking. As soon as you strike it, you're looking up, right? So you're
Right.
missing the moment right before I strike the ball to the second after I strike the ball and I get my head up. And that's where AI is a really important tool
Hmm.
because it's seeing everything going on, even when you're watching to when you're not watching. So that's kind of a cool, like what I found in my training that it's picking up things that I can't see because I'm worried about what this position looks like, and I'm not worried about what this position looks like right before that second I go, right? So the naked eye is not seeing certain things or the distance from the top of the 18.
Yeah. Awesome. I got to jump, guys, but so far, I'm really loving this. I'm looking forward to getting back to the rest of the recording. Thanks,
Awesome.
John.
Thanks for joining, Ryan. Anybody else have any questions? Eric, do you think there's from I'm remembering this, but I think we've talked about the agenda of how we would use it and where GameRun came from. I think we just need to maybe explain how the ease of you as a coach or the coaches would use this product, right?
I was just going to ask about the game. Like, I
Yeah.
agree because one of the things that I've spoken to a couple coaches about is, you know, we can't be everywhere. And if you're a crew of two in a club as your goalkeeping department, how do you get to the games? How do you go and get feedback from you're getting feedback currently from a head coach who probably doesn't know much about the position. But with this, it's a way for our goalkeeping department to see every goalkeeper, every game. So there's a bigger way for clubs to utilize it from a game perspective. I think
Yep.
that would be very insightful, John, for sure.
So I'm seeing this used in so many different ways. And it seems like every time I think these are the 10 ways we're using it, two more jump in mind, and my brain's constantly going back and forth with it. I'll give you a great example. We've already talked about individual training, but I think one of the big things too is that here's the what I want to I don't want to ever say the low end or the bottom end, but if you look at a pyramid and you know that pyramid's divided into a bunch of sections, the largest group at the bottom I think is going to be parents and players wanting to learn more, right? Like I don't know how many times I finish a session and within 10 seconds the kid's like, "What can I do better?" And I can't talk to you right now because my next session's about to start. Let's get back to this. I see this as being used as a way for parents who don't know much about soccer to actually have a communication with their person their player that is playing soccer, right? So I had a goalkeeper kid who never wanted to listen to one thing I had to say, even though I was what I thought was a professional goalkeeper coach. Um, so they just didn't want to hear me because I'm mom or dad. So I think that this is a way that a mom or dad can go out to a soccer field, set up their little tripod and their camera. They can kick 10 soccer balls at their goalkeeper, never say a word to their kid. That way, their kid just is working on catching. And then they can go back and they can upload this and they can read the report together. It educates the kid on what I need to do better, and it educates the player or the parent on what soccer's about, what they're deficient in, maybe teaches me some terminology. As for a club, we talked about how a coach would use it, but as for a club, there's a number of things. You could promote it out to all your families, and you get the members of a team joining in so they can kind of upload their own video and get their game analytics report on their player from that game. Or and eventually, very soon down the road, within days or within a week, we'll have the full game analytics done, where a coach can put up the game, and I want to report on my entire game from my team. This is similar to what colleges do, but colleges get that game and they send it off to a company and 3 days later. I think one of the very big important things that I may have missed out when I was showing you that video of the goalkeeper from college is that goalkeeper analyzation was done in the system within 30 seconds. And a full game video uploaded can be done within 300 seconds. Where in the college game, they send theirs off, and within 3 days later, they get their report back. So it's almost old when they get it back because they've had a training session and maybe or two, or maybe another game, depending on when it was sent in. Um, the platform's super easy to use. It's like maybe 5 or 6 clicks to get your report running and getting it analyzed. Um, so the use is very good. I'm actually working with a club right now where they want to buy it as a subscription for a team, multiple teams. So think about if you're a bigger club and you have 10 VO cameras and every coach trades that VO camera off and you're paying that annual or monthly fee for the use of uploading your game footage in VO. I have a club that's looking at buying this platform for each of their teams so that the coach can upload the game afterwards and get their analytics report on that game. And then one of our infographics that we're working on in that aspect is being able to see progression from game one to game eight or game 10 or throughout the year and see where you have your ups and downs as far as playing in the game. And then we have camps that want to use it. They want to buy a video, a one-off video for every one of their campers this summer, and use the video to upload it, to print off the report, to put it in as part of their evaluation as well. So many different ways to use the platform.
John, I have a question for you. With if I do a training session, I have two. It's two questions, but it's really
Yeah.
one. If I have a training session with six goalkeepers, one video, and I upload that, can I put in different information so I get one report on this goalkeeper, a separate report on this goalkeeper, a separate report on this goal, or do I have to upload it 6 times each for the individual GK? The same question would be from a team perspective. If I have a game going on and I'm a coach, can I get individual reports for each player, or is it more of a how does that work?
Yeah, so right now, let me just answer the latter part of that question first about individual positions. We are currently in development stages right now of running reports on individual positions, right? So just the other day, we ran a report on the goalkeeper, we ran a report on a center defender, we ran a report on a center midfielder, and ran a report on a forward from the exact same game. Um, so we were able to put that criteria on the back door side. Right now, when you go in there as a coach and you want to report on one player, you have to put the criteria in of the player, like John, number five, white jersey, center midfielder, 5'5", 120, whatever the criteria is for that player, and you'll get a report on that player. We hope, and my thinking outside the box and seeing a light at the end of the tunnel of where I want this product to go, but it's going to take some time because we want to make sure everything else is perfect for it. We want to be able to we want somebody to be able to go in there and put a criteria in. Is that criteria number one, the white team? I want the evaluation on the white team. And criteria number two, I want to be able to upload my roster. So I want to put John number three, Eric number two, Rambo number four, and then a report will be done on each one of those individual players from that same exact game, all at the same time.
Cool, cool. I'm just
Not
even
there
thinking.
yet, not there yet, but
Right.
that's where we're moving to.
Yeah. So right now, if I were to have a training session with six kids, I just download that same video 6 times and just change the criteria as the person I'm
The
focusing on.
person, yeah,
And then
yep.
okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
As long as there's an identification, like right now, for example, when I go in to put a goalkeeper for a game, I have to say white team, blue jersey, number three, right? So we have to have some identification markers so it knows which goalkeeper to be looking at in that video.
Gotcha.
But the
Gotcha.
nice thing about it is that once you do it for one video, Eric, it's the video saved in the platform. So the next time you upload that same game with a different person or the different criteria, it's faster because it already has the game in memory.
I was just going to ask that too. So even from an individual perspective, let's say a month from now, I record another session and that kid's back. I can, if I'm doing something similar, you mentioned earlier that I can have like a comparison sake, or even like a year from now, and I have a same topic, I can put that information in for that same kid. Will it store it by individual kid as you're inputting that information for each kid? And then you can have a comparison like, I want to compare this feedback to this feedback, and then they'll spit out another report.
Well, it's going to have you're going to be putting the criterion for the kids, so it's going to be more of a side by side comparison on your end.
Okay.
It's not going to give you a comparison in the training environment, but you will be able to eventually down the road be able to put John game one, John game 12, and it'll show
Okay.
you the feedback comparison. You could
Yeah.
have a good upside down bell curve, right? And what are we identifying in the below end of that? Maybe the kid's coming off of an injury. Maybe it's a psychological thing because they were a starter. Now they're not, and they're not playing, maximum. And then all of a sudden they become starter again, and now they're up here. So it's going to have that kind of that flow chart of throughout an entire season to be able to tell you how you're doing throughout the year.
Okay. That's helpful. Thank you. John, I'm curious, not wrong, John Moriera. I'm curious how you would consider using it.
Well, the points that just been made, I mean, it just falls right down my lane, right? With the individual training, right? And the
Mhm.
group training as well. So that would be very beneficial to us, in our academy system. But that'll also be very, if I can get the national team, association to get this would be beneficial to all of our goalkeepers within the academy system, right? At the
Yeah.
national level. And even our Oakville Soccer Club, this is in rambles on right now. I know she can't talk, but this would be huge for us because we do assessments twice a year for the governing body of Ontario, which oversees all the clubs in the province. Um, and we have to submit an evaluation. It's called a rubrics on each goalkeeper twice a year, and that's stored into their database. But I think this would be much more accurate in an assessment rather than them asking us to go back and in our mind and in our notes go back over 10 or 12 games and now be accurate with every single point you're trying to evaluate the goalkeeper in, right? Where the goalkeeper could have gotten better or could have regressed, over 3 or 4 weeks. Again, maybe it's an injury they had, they're coming back from an injury. So I think this would be much more accurate as opposed to the current format that they use across the board.
And one of the things you said, we talked this morning, John Gregg, I spoke to John Moriera earlier this morning about something different, but it got me kind of thinking about Bermuda and the Federation. John Moriera was telling me that Bermuda struggles with good goalkeeper coaching. It's a small island. They have a lot of players, but the coaching isn't necessarily up to par, so to speak,
Right.
from a goalkeeper perspective. I would think this could help when it comes to, even from afar, giving players feedback and not having to actually be present. Just a
Yeah.
way of not eliminating poor coaching and poor feedback coming back to you, but maybe a more direct way of getting feedback, John, right back to you from someone who's playing in matches down in Bermuda when you're in Canada.
Yeah, I see what John's saying, very similar to a kid in this country who lives in a rural area and doesn't have access to private training, right? Or anybody in their area. Like how many times I've gotten a phone call saying, "Oh my God, I wish you lived in our area." Like, you'd make a fortune here because there's no good goalkeeping coaching. There's no goalkeeper coaches, right? So I look at it in the very exact same way you're talking about, John. And I'm also looking at it in the sense that there's a lot of programs out there, club, college, not necessarily professional, but club, college, and other countries where you just don't have the staff that can work on those things, right? Like how many times have I've been to a youth game where the coach one doesn't know anything about goalkeeping and they've got a parent assistant coach and they're like, go warm up the goalkeeper because they don't want anything to do with it, right? And the parent coach or the assistant coach doesn't know anything about goalkeeping. I think this is a way that they can now go, hey, go jump in goal. I'm not going to tell you what to do. We're going to hit some balls at you. And then you're going to give the goalkeeper workout. The goalkeeper's going to walk away, and then the coach is going to run and do this report and get all the information so they can go back and look like a genius to the parents when they talk about their goalkeeper. So yeah, I mean, spot on, John, about how you could use it in many different avenues. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good points. I'm sure
And if
Ramble's
we
gonna. I'm seeing Ramble later, so I'm sure
Okay.
she's gonna have an earful for me about this as well. So
Let me put this out to you right now, because we just had a call about this morning, and we also had a call with another. I should say I had a we like there's a whole lot of me around, but I had another co call with a group yesterday and talking about this, and we talked about with Eric. We just implemented right now. If you sign up, um, you go online and create an account right now. They're doing a promotion where you'll get 500 credits for free and you can upload, I think, about 3 videos of yourself. So if you happen to be on the fields tonight or anything like that, and if you go out to GameRun.ai,
right.
um, you Rambo or whoever is on the call, that you go out to that website right now, and we're in the process of changing it, some verbiage, but there's a big gray button up top that says um, upload your video. If you click on that gray button that says upload your video, it's going to ask you to sign on with a Google account.
Hmm.
If you have a Gmail account or if you want to create a Gmail account for this activity, you would just basically sign in and then you can start basically your upload and get your free analytics right now on a goalkeeper for it's very, very limited time, but we're talking to a lot of big groups that we want people trying it. So if you go out and do those steps, you can go out there and take a couple snap videos of somebody right now on the website. Your choices are shooting and goalkeeping because we're still working on the full game analytics for a player, individual, and for a team. Before we throw it up there, we want to make sure it's good. But right now, shooting and goalkeeping are the two options you have on that. So feel free to log on and upload a video and get a report. And would love to hear your feedback after that report. By the way,
Yeah, I see Rambo. She's a smart one. We'll get her. We'll get her to. I'll do some video and maybe we can sell the club on this idea because I think it'll be beneficial to everyone. With the national team, it's a situation. I told Eric this morning that one, you don't have enough goalkeeper coaches throughout the island. Two, a lot of clubs don't have any goalkeeper program or a goalkeeper coach, right? Um, so this would be a huge help to those to get at least some direction on where to go to provide, an honest assessment of the goalkeepers within the system within the club.
Mhm.
Um, but now in November, I'm going back down to do a coaching license in Bermuda for local coaches. Some are going to be goalkeeper. I'll call them trainers. I won't call them coaches, but some goalkeeper trainers and some club head coaches come in as well because they want to learn a little bit more about goalkeeping. So even this might be a good sell, for me to propose in November where these head coaches coming in, not necessarily goalkeeper guys, but can come in and look at maybe getting this app, this platform for people within their club to help
Yeah,
them because it is a good visual guide for them who they don't need to know anything about goalkeeping. That does all the work for them. But
yeah,
at least it gives the goalkeeper
feedback.
some direction and feedback and a roadmap, if you want to call it, to where they need to go to the next
Absolutely.
level.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can
John,
hear it in your voice about how bad you need an assistant in November to go to Bermuda. So
no, 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 no. There's a line, Greg. There's a line, Johnny Greg. No, 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 no. I couldn't be closer, like to the front of the line. Like this.
I'll carry his bags.
Right?
It's a
John
tough,
Moriero,
tough gig. It's a tough
just
gig.
so you know, from our board, we have 4 people who are right now doing exactly what John Gregg just mentioned, meaning going to the site, logging in and creating an account, getting those free credits to then go out and test this product for the next week. We are literally in the process of creating our accounts today. If you want to be a part of that group for a fifth person and be a part of us kind of we're going to do our thing this weekend, record, get the feedback, and then we're going to meet next week. And then we're going to meet again with John to kind of get our feedback together, make sure we are all on the same page, compare notes, just to say, hey, here's what I experienced. I experienced the same thing, or I didn't experience that. I experienced this. And then we're going to go back to John and kind of give him that feedback. If you'd want to be a part of that, you're more than welcome to join. Just let me know.
Yeah, I'll talk to Rambo later on, see how we can better get, the best way we can get this into or propose it. I'll say propose to the club first.
Yeah.
And if they're going to be, you know, buying into it or seeing the value that, I'm sure Rambo says same as myself. I see a lot of value in this. Um, More so for the people who don't have any type of understanding about goalkeeping. because right now, honestly, 90% of the people that we know cannot give an honest assessment of a goalkeeper. They can't,
Yeah.
right? And you can't just make, I mean, anyone can make things up, but I'm saying to sit there and honestly say to a goalkeeper, these are your strengths and weaknesses, right? It's pretty hard to really take that and believe it, right? I'll definitely put something together in a video, and we'll definitely try to get. I would like to get into that trial there and see it, and that way we can present it. We have something to present to the club. This is what it will look like, for future assessments of our goalkeepers and hopefully teams as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that is most interesting that I left out as well too is that whoever's using it and whoever is receiving the information, both parties can feel very comfortable that it is a non-biased, right? There's no biases in the overall report. So when you're working with younger kids, you can't ever like parents are always out there and saying my kid doesn't play because the coach has his favorites, right? Or my goalkeeper is the second team goalkeeper because the coach has the favorites or whatever. You're getting a feedback and information on the person that is a non-biased professional coach, so to speak, right?
Right. Now, question for you again. Maybe I missed it, but um, the criteria that's already in place in that platform. So, for instance, we're doing a session on crossing tonight.
Hmm.
It's going to pick up everything as far as starting position, footwork, decision making, all that stuff. And if there's a required to do, if it's a cross coming low and they're diving low to intercept that cross, it'll pick up that criteria in that specific. Uh,
Yeah, because it's identifying the skill that it knows, right?
okay.
So, like I just did a session last Friday. I've got a 2009 goalkeeper. She's flirted around with the national team, ODP national team programs. She's a Division One prospect. She lives in Maryland and she drives up for my training sessions and she's like 6'1", right? So she's got this big wingspan and she's really good on crosses. And right now we're working on crosses because she's so good at boxing that like every cross comes in, she wants to box, right? And I keep trying to explain to her boxing is not an activity. It is a necessity of not being able to do an activity. And so we were working a lot on crosses. So I told her mom, I said, I want you to come out here and I want you just to stand here and I want you to videotape her taking these crosses. Boom, boom, boom. And we did two evaluations in there. We did crossings with a distribution, hand distribution to a pug goal on the other side. So like boom, roll over, distribute, right? A quick distribution. So we did that and then it was a minute and 15 seconds long or something like that. Her mom right there and then. I said, okay, go get a water break. Player whenever got a water break. I stood with her mom. I'm like, go here, touch that, upload, create your video, boom, and then refresh, refresh, refresh. Like within 30 seconds, she had the whole report on her phone right there. And she's like, oh, I'm gonna have Charlie read this on the way home. And that was all done during the water break of the player that we just videotaped. So it
Yeah, to
was
your
like,
point earlier on, I think you're right that it's not going to be always 100%. And as Ryan was mentioning about different ways to skin a cat, there are certain things, and been doing this for 32 years now. The game has evolved, the position has evolved, the coaching has evolved, right? And going to different countries and working and being around different people, everyone has their own way of doing things or tweaking things, right? Like some of the things there, like, me personally, I'm not saying it's wrong. There are certain things that I don't teach anymore. I don't teach the W anymore because there's new terminology for that. People use more of the diamond, and we're talking about professional goalkeepers who now are saying it's more of this than it is a W. Or the
mhm.
best one was when I was doing a coaching course. I was at the convention, I think it was a few years ago. There was a coach from England, and his topic was, I think it was high balls. And the question to the 400 guys or coaches in the stands was, when would you start to attack the ball? And people are yelling out at its highest point. Well, and then he threw the ball 30 feet in the air, and it's like that's the highest point right now. You're gonna start jumping at that 30 feet. And then the answer to that was you win the ball at your highest point because when you have 4 or 5 goalkeepers, everyone's physical abilities are different. Everyone's
Mhm.
vertical is different. So you now have to assess that when you're going to start to take off and win the ball at your highest point above your head. So it's
Yeah.
that explanation and the why we talked about this morning, Eric. When he explained that why to me, it changed my whole perception on things. So I stopped using that at its highest point. It's now at your highest point. Because if
Yep.
you have five goalkeepers, I'm saying everyone's going to win the ball at a different height, right? So to me, it's like you can't. I know you can't get around that, but I mean, there's going to be ways that hopefully that week, if we're using this, that we're going to be able to say, well, it's not actually the W. In my opinion, it's more of this, or it's not at its highest point, it's this, right?
Yep.
That type of thing, right? So I know this nothing's ever perfect.
You were spot on though. The very first time we did a video on goalkeeper catching, it came back with W contour window diamond,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then what it eventually ended up coming down to was contour because of the hand shape more so than the actual positioning. But then when I said, okay, if we're gonna have contour, let's have these identification markers, right? The identification markers are the elbows close to the body or are they away from the body? Like, if I'm catching a ball straight on, like, and I do, is it like this or is it like this, right? So we had to have those biomechanical identifiers, elbows bent, hands away from the body, fingers facing inward, so that when it scoured the universe, it said, okay, get rid of the W catch because when I do the W catch, I'm not having any of those other identifiers. So, and that's where we kind of let AI run wild with its own learning process.
yeah. That's true. And those, I mean, there's so many details when it comes to me, the most important thing as a goalkeeper coach is catching. That's the most important thing. I think we've lost the art of catching and teaching catching. It's always like punching, like you're saying,
Mhm.
because you're not comfortable or parrying. We have a lot of goalkeepers today who can catch things and they parry it because they're not one comfortable in doing it or they haven't been taught properly to do it, right?
Yeah.
So to me, there's so many details like the catching part to me is always when you're projecting your hands up, it's always the elbows, the hands, obviously the elbows and the shoulders are going to absorb it. But a lot of goalkeepers come up and they push their hands to the ball, and that's why they drop it. Little details like that, as
Yeah.
opposed to contouring. Like Gomez, who was Brazil's goalkeeper. He was one of the first guys that I saw change that W to more of that diamond shape, and he explains why. Again, his preference. And he's not saying it's wrong. He's just saying that's his preference how he views those little
Hmm.
things. But again, I think the overall idea of what you have here is fantastic. It's
Awesome.
fantastic. It's fantastic because again, it's a guide, to everyone, and especially the parents who don't have any idea about goalkeeping,
Yep.
right? It's fantastic for them.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
just two things real quick. John Gregg, just a few minutes, by the way, just FYI. And then
Yep.
John Morier and John Gregg, correct me if I'm wrong. John, when you get the report sent to you, you can actually, if you, let's say the club, you're doing it from a club perspective and you're getting the report, you can
Hmm.
actually manipulate the report to
Okay.
add in your feedback as well. So if something's not worded properly, or if you believe you want to add some of your feedback to that, you can. John Gregg, did I get that correct?
Yeah, it's a that's a Kapil, our CEO and founder, and the our developers. That's on their end. I have no idea how that's done. I know we it's what we like to call the special sauce, right? Because everybody wants their little special sauce. That's what makes them different than everybody else. So, I don't know necessarily how that's all done. Because one thing we don't want to have is a million subscribers and then everybody wants a different like special sauce in the report. And I think on a development stand, it'll be very hard to do. I think that when we get into it, the more times we have a goalkeeper video uploaded and run, it's going to continuously grow and be different on its own. So we're hoping that organically, some of those things that you may think are being left out will eventually be in there because it's all over. It's looking at everything, right? Just like that window contour windows. It's taking everything it's ever heard from that moment, and we then have to fix some simple identifiers in those things.
That helps. Thank you.
When's your next call again? I know I signed up for this one here. Is there another one today?
No, there's not one
Oh,
other one for today.
okay.
Nope. 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 Nope.
Okay.
Yeah, John Gregg, if you don't mind, just final thoughts, if you could, and we'll end from there. Thank you.
Yeah, no, again,
Appreciate
appreciate.
your time. Appreciate your time and the support you've been giving us with this product. We are excited for it. I know that for a fact. So to have us be helping you spread this, we appreciate our involvement. So again, John, thank
Absolutely.
you very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quick
Love
last
anybody.
question. Sorry.
Yep. Go ahead.
Is there any information you can send our way so we can probably present it to the club, or I could present it to the federation in Bermuda?
Yeah, you want to just take down my email address, and what we can do is
Sure.
we can start exchanging some email. It's elite,
Yep. Yep.
ELITESOCKER at msn.com. We can start a dialogue there, and then you can tell me exactly what you need, and I can work on getting, a bunch of different things for you. I've shared even emails with Eric, and shown reports on the game analytics of the goalkeeper because it's not available on the web yet. I have the documents downloaded, so I can actually share a video link and then show you the report on the goalkeeper within the game analytics.
Okay.
And then I can also send you a link to a very short clip with a different goalkeeper than I showed today, and the analytics of that as well.
Perfect.
All right, awesome. Well,
Cool.
thanks, Eric.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. John Gregg, appreciate you greatly, sir.
Yep,
If anyone has any questions, you have John's email right there. Don't be
yep,
afraid to give him an email.
awesome.